Welcome back to Reaction YouTube channel. Today we're looking at this new channel called Sunny version 2. I think he may have had a version 1. I don't exactly know. Hui Migyu, Mugu Gai Pan. This video is called Child Celebrities Who Have Terrible Lives Now, which is so funny to me. Just kidding. That's terrible to say. Children, if you're watching this, don't try to become famous. It's a trap. So let's go ahead and watch Child Celebrities Who Have Terrible Lives Now.
This video will cover 6 child stars who had a terrible life.
Hopefully
after
it's the
fame.
one kid from,
and we're going to begin by talking
yes,
about
yes,
Jake
him from
Lloyd,
the
who
prequels.
played Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars: The Phantom
That's
Menace.
so. This
Jake was
is a
chosen to
sad
play
story.
Anakin from 3,000 potential candidates and would perform so well in the billion-dollar movie
man.
that he won the best performance in a feature film for an actor under the age of 10. While this might have implied that Jake had a promising film career ahead of him, he'd appear in only one more movie after Star Wars before announcing his acting retirement at the age of 12, explaining that he was bullied heavily as a result of the role. My entire school life was really a living hell, and I had to do up to 60 interviews a day.
Oh my
Other
Lord.
children were really mean to me. They would make the sound of the lightsaber every time they saw me, with this kind of harassment even continuing into Jake's high school and college.
That's terrible, dude. That sucks so fucking bad because I love the prequels, and I love them because people hate them, I think. I mean, they're so good. They're good for one. Obi-Wan is great. I mean, come on. The fight scene, him and Darth Maul, come on, dude. Come on, dude. You don't like that shit? Something's wrong with you. You don't like Jake Lloyd? Something's wrong with you. It's a you problem, all right? And whoever bullied him out there, go fuck yourselves, okay? You all suck.
Child stars have had a bit of a reputation that they turn to, a life of drugs, so may the force be with you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yet this advice seemed to have no impact,
What a
as his
horrible-
life began to go downhill beginning in 2015. Jake
What a horrible interviewer. That wasn't advice. That was very poorly brought up, just like weird autistic info dump. Fucking God. Why would you say that to this poor guy? Right in his face. What's wrong with you, man? He just triggered me. I just got triggered, guys. Look at my hair. I just got triggered.
Jake Lloyd has schizophrenia, stopped taking his medication, and attacked his mother. Indianapolis police were called to the home of Lloyd's mother, Lisa. She said the 26-year-old showed up and yelled at her, saying she ruined his life. Lloyd allegedly knocked her down when she wouldn't let him in the house and stomped her 3 or 4 times, causing bruises and abrasions. He was gone by the time the police showed up, and she didn't press charges.
That's so sad.
Only 3 months later,
Comic Sans. Damn. Interesting choice.
Jake has been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but unfortunately he also has a symptom called anosognosia, which causes a lack of insight into his illness. This only adds to the struggle he faces, which has been very difficult after the tragic loss of his younger sister, Madison. He has moved closer to his family, and we are all working hard to help him with this. He is still a kind and caring person, and we hope to have him back to his fun and entertaining self as soon as possible. Jake will continue to make progress with the love and support you continue to show.
I mean, that's just bullies did that shit. I don't know. I've read that schizophrenia is a bit contagious. Like people can start to mimic schizophrenic conditions. I forget what the term is. It's not like you can just catch it like a disease or whatever, but there are, contagious is the wrong word, but there are things that you can pick up if you spend too much time around schizophrenic people. And I don't know if you can be driven to schizophrenia necessarily. I'm not an expert, but I can imagine being bullied by the entire world for your entire life probably doesn't help with having a stable state of mind, So, poor Jake Lloyd. Damn. Love the prequels. Let's watch the prequels in honor of Jake Lloyd.
Edward Furlong.
Oh,
After playing John Connor in the
Wonder what
Terminator
happened to
2, Furlong began to mess with drugs, stating, "Hollywood F me up, man. Lots of money and lots of free coke will turn anybody into a cokehead," with this addiction resulting in his first arrest for driving under the influence without a license.
Looks like one of my friends.
2009, at the age of 32, he was back in the news for punching his girlfriend whilst on drugs. 3 years later, Furlong was arrested again, this time for domestic abuse against his new girlfriend, resulting in a further 6 months in prison, where he'd pick up a meth addiction, although this story actually has somewhat of a happy ending. In July 2022, Furlong announced that he had gotten his teeth fixed, was taking better care of himself, and had been sober for over 4 years.
I'm much happier now, man. I mean, it feels so good to at least be doing the best you can.
Good. Well, that's awesome. Because that looked like it was going downhill, beat girlfriend, meth, no teeth, can't get much worse. What's next? next? What's next? I mean, it can get a lot worse. Let's be real.
Approximately 7 years after the show came to an end, Drake Bell announced that he was filing for bankruptcy, causing a foreclosure on his $2 million mansion. 1 year later, in 2015, he'd be jailed for 4 days as a result of driving under the influence. However, the real drama didn't begin until mid-2020, when his ex-girlfriend would upload a video on TikTok, making some pretty severe accusations.
Imagine the worst type of verbal abuse you could ever imagine, and that was what I got. It then turned into physical, hitting, throwing, everything. At the pinnacle of it, he drugged me down the stairs of our house in Los Feliz. My face hit every step on the way down.
Drake Bell would defend himself by stating, "I never abused my ex-girlfriend or did so many of the other things Melissa falsely claimed on her TikTok video. Unfortunately, we both called each other terrible names, as often happens when couples are breaking up, but that is it." Although this response most certainly didn't put an end to the drama, as there was even bigger trouble just around the corner.
Yeah, I know about this trouble.
He was embroiled in a legal battle for engaging in a relationship with a 15-year-old girl back in 2017. Things became even worse when footage of the trial was uploaded to YouTube.
I plead to count 2, disseminating matter harmful to juveniles. First degree misdemeanor.
Guilty.
Let the record reflect defendant has pled guilty. The court accepts that plea.
I love his pompadour.
Don't believe the media. If these claims were remotely true, my situation would be very different. I would not be.
Where's he live at? Cotton Candy Land?
And my son.
Despite finishing by stating that he was at home with his wife, this relationship would last only 1 more year, as in January 2023, on top of everything that had already happened, Drake Bell announced that he was also getting a divorce.
I guess it can always get worse.
Although he's not the only Nickelodeon actor with a spot in this video, as the life of Amanda Bynes has descended.
That's Amanda Bynes? I have a friend that looks just like her too. Shit, bud. And then the person, my friend that looks like the other guy, is dating that person. What the fuck? What the fuck? What should I start betting on the lottery or what, dude? Tell me. Comment below whether I'll let you guys determine my financial future right now.
Descended into an even worse version of hell. Despite having one of the most famous faces throughout.
I know Amanda Bynes. I don't know her personally, but I know of her.
I know 24 is a young age to retire, but you heard it here.
Well, she's struggling, obviously.
She'd go on to state that the retirement was because I literally couldn't stand my appearance in Easy A and I didn't like my performance. I was absolutely convinced that I needed to stop acting after seeing it. However, this is where things began to go downhill rapidly.
Yeah,
in 2012, 2 years after retiring, she was charged with driving under the influence and hit and run on 2 separate occasions. 2 years after this, she'd be charged with driving under the influence again, with her court appearance displaying a significant physical decline from just 2 years prior.
She looks not real.
Amanda would take to Twitter to call Michelle and Barack Obama ugly, before
I mean, that's a
stating that
personal
she and her
opinion.
parents were no longer speaking, which accompanied some absolutely wild accusations about her father, including the statement that he had put a microchip in her brain, after she'd also set fire to a drive.
Okay, this is really ramping up to a level which I did not foresee. This is wild as shit. And guys, I have a lot of hair on my head. I have a lot of foresight. Didn't see it coming though. Holy shit.
Amanda was put in a mental hospital, after which her parents were given legal ownership over her $5 million estate, as Amanda has been spending large amounts of her savings. It has been reported that she's recently made extensive purchases as gifts from jewelry stores such as Cartier for strangers. Amanda Bynes was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and would attempt to get her life back on track by enrolling in fashion school. However, she was kicked out only 10 months later for showing up high and arguing with her classmates.
Very Hollywood, Amanda. Very Hollywood. I hope it ends up good for her. I think that it hasn't, unfortunately, but we'll see. I don't really...
18, people assumed that she was back to her normal self, as Amanda showed up in magazines looking like this. However, within a year, she'd gotten face tattoos and checked into Alcoholics Anonymous, where she'd meet her new boyfriend who, according to Amanda, had just as many problems as her.
That's good.
In October 2022, she'd make another attempt at fixing her life by enrolling in cosmetic school, yet only 5 months later, in March 2023, she was sent to a mental hospital once again, as she was found roaming the streets of Los Angeles without any clothes on.
I mean, truth is stranger than fiction. This is crazy. What a wild twist. What a wild twist of events here. Holy dookie. Holy shit.
Then there was Orlando Brown, whose role as Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven ended
I never saw
with an
that
equally
show.
terrible life. After the show came to an end in 2007, Orlando began to focus on music, during which his life was kept fairly private until he'd enter news headlines approximately 9 years later. Between February and March 2016, Brown was arrested on 2 separate occasions on charges of domestic violence,
big
obstruction
narcissism,
of justice,
big
drug
narcissism
possession with the
charge,
intent to sell, and possession of contraband in jail.
Woo!
In February 2016, cops claimed he struck his then girlfriend in the parking lot of a police station and was found by officers to be in possession of methamphetamine.
Ultimate narcissist drug. See, that's the thing about child stars, all right? Don't let your kids become famous because they will turn into narcissists and they will eventually do meth. All right, guys? I don't mean to finger wag at you, but I know my shit here. Okay, I know my shit here. I watched a lot of Shane Dawson, and I think that I can make that diagnosis and that read.
Orlando was given a notice to appear in court,
looks happy,
yet he'd instead flee to Las Vegas, where he was caught by bounty hunters.
You left California. It's a felony when you
caught
flee.
That so Raven.
What are you doing here then, brother? You got a warrant for your arrest.
He's just running away.
Video was released of Orlando being kicked out of a friend's house after lasting only a week in rehab, which is followed by his appearance on the Dr. Phil show, during which he'd state that he'd been sober for 4 years, despite clearly being under the influence on the show.
I'm 4 years sober for a reason. I just now got out of rehab. I just now got out of ER. I just got.
What is the eyes?
No more time away from my kids other than I need to.
As a result of this episode, Orlando would return to rehab and get clean before discussing his experience on
Is nobody going to mention his eyeballs? What the hell? Is reality coming apart at the seams for me? Is that what's happening right now? Was that just me? Anyways, we'll move on.
I had a 2-year binge of something that I should have never, ever indulged in.
True.
Yes, those situations, man, they will never happen again based off of the fact that where I'm trying to go.
And while he'd end his statement by stating that those situations will never happen again, Orlando was back in the news approximately 7 months later in December 2022 after threatening a family member with a
Orlando.
hammer. He's currently undertaking a psychiatric assessment to see if he's eligible for pleading insanity. Yet the most tragic story of child fame without a doubt comes from Judy Garland, who played Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz.
I've seen that movie. Have y'all seen that? I thought I was the only one. Back to Orlando, though. That is wild. What a wild story. You'd think there'd be more happy endings. I'm surprised there was any at all after these last 3. Holy dookie poop.
Whilst filming the movie, she was prescribed amphetamines to keep up with the production's grueling schedule, as well as barbiturates to help her sleep when the day was finally over.
Very
the studio
50s.
also required Judy to stay incredibly thin, feeding her nothing but soup and lettuce leaves whilst on set, which she'd explained led to a poor self-image. By the time The Wizard of Oz was finished, she was being prescribed amphetamines from 4 different doctors to keep her weight down and her mood up, although this lifestyle began to catch up to her.
They ruined her, bud.
By the time Judy Garland was in her 40s, she looked about 15 years older, had been divorced 5 different times, and was performing in a New York bar for $100 per night. While Judy Garland maintained that she...
I feel like if I went to New York right now, I guarantee you I couldn't make $100 a night. Guarantee it. Performing in bars. That's baller. That's a happy ending right there.
While Judy Garland maintained that she had never done anything wrong in her entire life.
The only mistake I ever did, the only harm I ever did was sing Over the Rainbow.
She would die of an overdose at the age of 47 on the exact same drug that she was prescribed during The Wizard of Oz, with her estate being worth a measly $40,000.
A measly... Dude, you don't gotta be so rude to Judy Garland. What the fuck? But yeah, I get it though. I understand.